Eli lived alone on Moonbase Thatanine. He was a maintenance worker, sent to fix broken machines and check old communication towers. The moon was dry, rocky, and quiet, too quiet. There were no birds, no wind, no animals, only machines, dust, and the endless stars above. He had been there for 3 months now. No visitors, no video calls, only short text updates from command. He had finished his daily tasks early. So he sat near the old cum station, drinking recycled coffee. The place was silent, except for the buzzing of the broken signal tower. Eli leaned back in his chair and looked at the stars through the glass. "I wonder if anyone's listening out there," he said to himself with a smile. Then, as a joke, he picked up the old mic connected to the long-range transmitter. He hit record and spoke in a deep voice, pretending to be a lonely king. "This is Eli of Thatanine," he said, looking for a wife. "Must enjoy quiet nights and space dust." He laughed, then added, "Vampire Warbrides, welcome." Then he hit send. The message went out through the broken tower and disappeared into the stars. He chuckled, shaking his head. "Yeah, right. Like, anyone heard that?" he said. Finishing his coffee, the old tower blinked, fizzed, and then powered down completely. He shrugged and stood up, thinking it was just old junk breaking again. But later that night, something strange happened. The lights in the hallway flickered. The air got colder. Even though the climate systems were working fine, Eli checked the systems, no errors, no warnings, but he felt it. Something in the air, like static before a storm. He tried to sleep, but the base shook gently, like something had landed outside. The motion sensors turned red, movement detected near landing zone B. No ships are scheduled, Eli whispered, heart pounding. He grabbed his flashlight and walked down the metal hallway toward the exit hatch. As the outer door opened, dust flew into his face. The wind was still, but the dust moved like something big had disturbed the ground, and then he saw it half buried in the rocks. A pod, black and smooth, shaped like a coffin. Red lines glowed across its surface like veins. Eli stepped closer, his boots crunching the gravel. The pod hissed, and steam poured out from the edges. He raised his flashlight, then the lid opened slowly. A tall figure rose from inside. Her skin was pale like moonlight, her eyes deep, red like fire. Long black hair flowed down her back, and her suit looked like armor and silk at the same time. She stood tall, graceful, and powerful. Eli stumbled back, almost dropping the flashlight. She stepped out of the pod with calm steps and looked at him. Then she spoke, her voice soft but strong. "I accept your proposal," she said. Eli froze. "What?" "You asked for a wife," she said. "I am your warbride." Eli's mouth hung open. "That was a joke," he said, confused and terrified. "I was just messing around. I didn't mean it." But she tilted her head, eyes glowing brighter. "The ancient pact has been answered," she said. The signal was clear. "The bond is sealed." Eli shook his head, backing away. "This can't be real," he muttered. But his cum device beeped with a strange alert. Unknown frequency. "Connected," it said. "New life form registered as mate of Eli species. Vampire class Xeno. What the hell is going on?" Eli gasped. The warbride walked toward him, calm and silent. She stopped only inches away and looked into his eyes. "You called, and I came," she said. "Now I belong to you." Eli's heart beat like a drum. He didn't know if he should run, fight, or laugh again, but nothing felt funny now. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, watching him inside the base. The lights turned red. The doors locked behind them with a loud clank. The AI voice spoke in a new tone, slow and deep. "Welcome, Warbride Saraxa. Your authority is recognized." Eli turned to her, his voice shaking. "Saraxa." She nodded once. I will protect you, share blood with you, and fight beside you, he whispered. What did I start? In the cold silence of space, one joke had become a blood oath. And Eli's life was never going to be the same again. Eli stood frozen in the cold air outside his base. The strange woman creature stood just a few feet away from him. Her eyes glowed red, bright like fire, but her face was calm. She didn't move to attack. Didn't bare fangs, didn't even blink. She just stood there like she had arrived. Exactly as planned, the black coffin-shaped pod behind her let out a low hum, then shut itself. It melted back into the ground like it was never there. Only her footprints on the dust remained. Eli's hands were shaking. But he tried to keep his voice steady. Listen, I don't know who you are or where you came from, he said. But that message I sent it wasn't real. It was a joke. The woman tilted her head slightly, her red eyes glowing softer now. But your voice was real. She replied, your blood signature matched the call. I am Saraxa, Warbride of House Enval. She said proudly, you called, and I answered. Eli stared at her, not knowing what to say. I didn't mean it, he said again. It was just for fun. Saraxa stepped closer, and the ground under her boots cracked gently. The dust curled around her like it feared her. You do not understand the pact, she said calmly. Your words woke ancient systems. This moon sits on old ground, forgotten by your kind Eli's. Head spun. He remembered the old tech buried beneath the base. Engineers said it was inactive alien junk, too dangerous to dig up. Now he wasn't so sure. You're saying I activated something, he asked. Yes, she nodded. The blood beacon. Last used 10,000 cycles ago. It called me across stars, through frozen space and time. Her voice was both beautiful and terrifying, like poetry whispered by a storm. Eli backed away. One step at a time, he hit the door controls and the base hissed open. Look. I think you have the wrong person, he said quickly. I'm just a tech guy. But Saraxa walked past him like she belonged there. The base lights flickered as she entered, sensors reacting to her presence. The hallway lights turned a deep red. The AI voice echoed slowly. Warbride Saraxa. Confirmed. Bond registered. What bond? Eli yelled. Stop saying that. He followed her through the hallways, trying to make sense of it all. She moved with grace, never looking lost. She seemed to know the base better than him. Saraxa stopped at the central chamber and placed her hand on the wall. Black veins of energy crawled from her palm across the metal. Machines hummed, and old doors opened, doors that had never worked before. She turned to Eli and said, this place was not yours to begin with. Eli rubbed his face, feeling sweat despite the cold. Okay, fine. Maybe I triggered some ancient tech, he said. But why you? Why me? Saraxa looked at him with something strange in her eyes, not anger, not coldness. It was curiosity, because the blood pact chooses to, she said. One who seeks. And one who answers. I wasn't really seeking, Eli muttered. She smiled faintly. The stars think otherwise. Suddenly, the base shook, and lights went out for a second. Then a low humming sound filled the walls. Eli's CUM device lit up with an alert. Life signature detected, high-level xenopresence. Species class, forbidden, recommendation. Retreat. Eli looked at her. Forbidden? What are you exactly? I am the last of my line, Saraxa said. My people ruled in silence, in shadow, long before your kind built ships. We gave our hearts in war and took blood as bond. When the universe feared us, we made peace through pacts. You are now part of that legacy. Eli's mouth went dry. This can't be happening. You are afraid, she said softly, stepping closer. Her hand reached out, cold but gentle. He didn't move as her fingers brushed his cheek. I will not harm you, she whispered. Not unless you command me to. He stared into her red eyes. And for the first time, he didn't see a monster. He saw someone tired, old, powerful, but maybe lonely. Why did you really come? He asked. Saraxa's eyes dimmed a little. Because I was waiting, she said. For a voice that still believed in something, Eli sat down slowly on the floor, his head spinning. All he had wanted was some company, some laugh in the dark. Now, he had a vampire warbride standing in his hallway, and the machines around him were listening to her instead of him. What do we do now? He asked, almost whispering. Saraxa looked at the glowing walls and then at him. Now, you rest, she said. Tomorrow, others will come. Others. Yes, she said, her voice dropping low. They will try to end the pact, and just like that. Eli realized this was only the beginning. He had spoken a joke into space, but the stars had taken it as a vow, and now they were sending witnesses. Eli didn't sleep that night. He sat in the control room, staring at the cameras, watching her. Saraxa moved through the halls like she had lived there forever. She wasn't searching. She was remembering every door open for her, every machine. Obeyed her touch. The base wasn't just reacting to her, was welcoming her. Old lights flickered on where power had long died. Rusty turrets retracted peacefully. Systems hummed as if relieved. Eli drank cold coffee and checked the logs. There were no errors, no warnings, no sign of a system breach, except one. The AI station name, Luma, was acting different. Its voice had changed, slower, deeper. Its responses came not to Eli's voice, but to hers. He tried again. Luma, status report. The screen blinked. Then responded. Command source, Warbride Saraxa. Status, secure under pact protocol. What pact protocol? Eli muttered. The screen glowed red and showed a symbol he had never seen before. A circle of thorns surrounding a drop of blood. Underneath it read, Bond confirmed. Blood code locked. Eli leaned back, rubbing his eyes. What the hell did I sign up for? Then came footsteps, soft but steady. Saraxa entered the room, her eyes calm, her voice quiet. You are not sleeping. Nope, Eli said, trying to sound brave. Hard to sleep when you've been accidentally married to a vampire. She tilted her head. You are not truly married. Oh, he said with a nervous laugh. That's a relief. She stepped closer, her long cloak brushing the floor. We are bonded, she continued. Different from your concept of marriage. Eli swallowed hard. Explain. Saraxa looked at the screen, then back at him. The pact is older than names, she said. It binds voice to blood. Blood to code. Code to fate. That helps. A lot, he muttered. She moved to the console and placed her hand on it. The base system shifted again, colors changed. Doors remapped. Your signal reached a core frequency buried beneath this moon, she said. It activated the last. Offering protocol. Eli stared. Which means? What? I own a vampire. Saraxa's eyes narrowed slightly. No, she said softly. It means I now serve under your bond, but I am not property. I am not yours to control. Then why do all the systems think I'm in charge? He asked. She turned and looked at him seriously. Because you are the chosen voice, she said. The pact gave you rights. And responsibility. Eli felt dizzy. Okay, he said, trying to stay calm. And this blood code thing. Saraxa reached into her cloak and pulled out a small metal ring. It pulsed red, warm in her hand. This is the symbol of our bond, she said. She walked over and gently placed it on the console. The ring melted into the metal, the entire base. Shook lightly just for a moment, then settled on the screen. A new message appeared. Command access, dual bonded Warbride. Active voice, recognized. Eli blinked. What just happened? Saraxa looked at him with a strange softness. I gave you access, she said. Now the base answers both of us. Eli stared at the screen, then back at her. "I don't know whether to thank you or panic." "Panic later," she replied. "They will come soon. The others you mentioned." "Yes," she said, her tone growing serious. "Those who hunt us, those who fear what I carry." Eli frowned. "And what do you carry?" She paused, then answered carefully. "The last royal blood of House Envel. My blood carries codes no system has seen in 1,000 years. Those codes can awaken armies or destroy planets." Eli stood up, hands in his pockets. "So, to recap, I joked into a mic. Summoned an ancient vampire warbride, and now I'm half in charge of a cursed moon base with murder blood codes." Saraxa nodded once. "Yes," he sighed. "Of course." Then he asked the question that had been bothering him all night. "Why me?" She walked to the window and looked at the stars. "Because you were alone," she said. "Because you spoke without fear. Because deep inside you wanted someone to hear you. I wanted a laugh." He replied, "But something in you wanted more," she said gently. "The pact only answers when the heart is open." Even for a second, Eli didn't reply. He looked at her, tall, powerful, strange, but not cruel. She didn't lie. Didn't threaten. She just accepted what the universe gave her. And now, that meant him. Suddenly, the alarm sounded. Red lights spun slowly in the corners of the room. "Incoming ships detected," the AI said. 3 vessels, unregistered. Saraxa's eyes darkened. "They are here." Eli turned toward her. "Enemies." "Hunters," she said, her voice like steel. "They will try to break the bond. Even if it means killing us both." Eli's chest tightened. He never trained for this, never held a real weapon. But he looked at her hand, something inside him whispered that he wouldn't run. "Then let's get ready," he said. Saraxa smiled. "The pact begins its test." The sky above the moon base turned red. 3 ships entered the atmosphere silently, like sharks circling in deep water. Their shapes were sharp, black, and smooth, built for war, not peace. Eli watched them from the command window, his hands cold and shaking. The AI voice echoed through the base, warning, unauthorized vessels approaching. No human identification. Saraxa stood beside him. Calm, eyes glowing. "They found us faster than I expected," she said quietly. "Who are they?" Eli asked, still staring at the ships. "They call themselves the Ash Order." Saraxa replied, "Sworn enemies of my kind, hunters of warbrides." The ships landed in a triangle around the base, sending waves of dust into the sky. The ground trembled, lights flickered, and static filled the comms. Eli turned to Saraxa. "What do they want?" "They want me dead," she said. "And they want you unbound. Unbound. They will break the pact," she said, "even if it kills you." Eli stepped back, heart pounding. "I didn't ask for any of this," he whispered. Saraxa looked at him, her voice firm but not unkind. "Neither did I," she said. "But we are in it now, inside the base, doors locked, shields activated, and defense systems powered up." But the hunters were already at the gates. 3 figures walked toward the main hatch. They wore armor like obsidian, glowing with silver runes. Their faces were covered with helms, shaped like skulls. They looked like death itself. Walking slowly, without fear, Eli watched through the camera feed. "These guys look serious," he said. Trying to keep his voice steady, Saraxa nodded. They were trained to end my bloodline, and they will not speak first." The base AI offered only one suggestion: surrender, not advised. The warbride stepped forward and opened a hidden panel in the wall. Inside was a black case. Glowing faintly, she opened it, revealing armor made of dark crystal and metal. Eli stared. "That's yours." Saraxa nodded. "Part of the pact." She began putting it on, piece by piece. The armor attached to her like it remembered her body. Each plate slid into place, smooth and perfect. When she placed the last piece of thin crown across her forehead, air around her pulsed. It was like the base breathed with her. Eli took a step closer. "You look terrifying." She turned to him and gave a faint smile. "Good," she said. "They need to know who they are dealing with." Suddenly, the outer speakers crackled to life. A deep voice spoke through the static. "This is Commander Vale of the Ash Order. Surrender the Warbride and you may leave unharmed." Eli looked at Saraxa. "Do we even have a chance?" She replied, "Alone? No. But with the bond, yes. What do I have to do?" She walked over and held out her hand. "You must accept the link fully," she said. "Let our minds touch. Let our blood remember each other." Eli hesitated, but only for a second. He took her hand. A sharp pain ran up his arm, quick, cold, and deep. Symbols glowed on his wrist, the same that lit her armor. He felt something awaken inside him, not strength, but connection. Her thoughts touched his. And for a moment, he understood her. All the pain, the exile, the loneliness of a warrior built for love and war. She had been waiting so long, and he was the first to truly speak, even by accident. The base lights turned white, then crimson. The AI spoke again. Bond strengthened, packed at combat threshold, defense level. Absolute. The outer hatch slammed open, and Saraxa stepped out into the dust. Eli followed, wearing only a shielded suit. The three hunters raised their weapons, but paused when they saw Eli walking beside her. "You protect the creature?" One shouted, voice full of disgust. Eli raised his chin. "She came when I called. And I'm not letting you take her. You are nothing," the hunter spat. "Just human meat wrapped in a curse." "Maybe," Eli said, "but she's my curse." Saraxa whispered something ancient, and her armor lit with red energy. The dust around her swirled as if pulled by her voice. One of the hunters lunged forward, blade raised. In a blink, Saraxa vanished, then reappeared behind him. Her blade slid clean across his chest, armor splitting like paper. Eli watched in awe. She moved like lightning, like music made of blades. The second hunter charged, only to be caught in a trap. The base itself opened beneath him. The third tried to escape, but Saraxa caught him midair and dropped him without a word. The fight ended in under 30 seconds. Dust settled, blood marked the ground. Saraxa stood tall, eyes glowing bright as the moons above. Eli exhaled, breath shaking. You really are something else." She turned to him, her face calm. "They were scouts." She said, "More will come." Eli nodded slowly. "Then we'll be ready." She raised an eyebrow. "We?" He gave a tired smile. "Well, I guess I did ask for a warbride." The bodies of the three hunters were gone. Saraxa burned them with a quiet ritual at dawn. No fire, no flame, just red light from her palm. The dust swallowed their remains like they had never existed. Eli stood beside her in silence. His body still shook from the night's battle. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't brave. But something inside him had changed. When she fought, he felt it. When she moved, his blood had moved too. Like the link between them was deeper than just energy or words. Back inside the base, the air was heavy. Machines stayed quiet, almost like they were resting after the fight. Eli poured himself water with shaky hands. Saraxa stood nearby, unmoving, her armor now silent and dark. "You didn't have to protect me," he said softly. "I could have just given you up." "You could have," she replied, her voice low. "But you didn't." He sat down, elbows on the table. "Why do I feel strange?" "You accepted the bond," Saraxa said. "Now the blood remembers." Eli looked at his wrist, the glowing symbols. "We're still there, faint now, but alive. Is that why I could feel you during the fight?" She nodded. "Yes." He hesitated, then asked, "Are you still hiding something from me?" Saraxa didn't answer right away. Instead, She walked to the center of the room and removed her crown. Her hair flowed down her back, longer than he realized. She looked different without the armor, less like a warrior, more like a woman burdened by history. "There is something," she said at last. "My blood. It is not just royal, it is forbidden." Eli leaned forward. "What do you mean?" She looked at him, her eyes softer now. "Long ago, my people discovered a way to mix blood with machines. They built living weapons, thinking they could control everything, but the result was something even they feared." "What did they make?" Eli asked. "Me," she replied, "and others like me." Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. "We were warbrides, yes, but more than that. We were the key to old technology, 2 lost cities, 2 sleeping weapons." "My blood does not just carry memory," she said. "It carries command." Eli blinked. "You mean you can wake up machines?" "Not just any machines," she said. "The kind your people were never meant to find." He sat back, stunned. "So that's why the hunters came so fast. They knew what you really were." "Yes," she whispered, "and they will not stop." Eli stood up and walked across the room. He looked at the base, at the walls, the consoles, the blinking lights. "Is this place one of those machines?" Saraxa nodded. "This moon holds a chamber beneath it, built long ago, sealed by my ancestors. And my blood is the key." She looked away, as if ashamed. "I came because the pact was made, but now I know the truth." She said, "Your joke woke more than just me." Eli took a deep breath. "You think the chamber is opening?" "I know it is," she replied. "Last night, I felt it stir for a long moment." Neither of them spoke. Then the base lights flickered again, but this time it wasn't from damage, it was from below. The floor beneath them pulsed with faint red light. Eli stepped back. "What is that?" Saraxa closed her eyes. "The heart of the machine," she said. "It hears me." Just then, Eli's wrist burned. The glowing mark flashed bright, and pain shot through his arm. He cried out and fell to one knee. Saraxa rushed to him, placing her hand on his chest. "Breathe," she said. "It is linking deeper." "What does that mean?" He gasped. "Our bond is sinking with the core," she said. "The machine is recognizing you too." He looked up at her, sweat on his face. "Why me?" "'Cause you touched something ancient," she said. "And now it wants you to stay." Suddenly, alarms blared, but they weren't warning about enemies. The AI spoke with a strange echo. "Chamber activation. Sequence in progress. Core recognition. Warbride confirmed. Voice confirmed." Saraxa looked at the floor. "It's happening," she said, almost in a whisper. "The seal is breaking." Eli stood up slowly, his legs weak. "What's down there?" She looked at him, her eyes glowing again. "Something that was never meant to wake again. But it has been waiting." He stepped beside her. "Then we go together." "You are sure?" she asked. He nodded. "We started this together. Let's finish it." Saraxa touched the wall. A hidden lift opened with a hiss. A narrow tunnel descended into darkness as they stepped inside. The walls lit up with red veins of light. The machine welcomed its creators, and somewhere deep below, an ancient voice neither human nor vampire stirred in its sleep. Asterisk. The lift carried Eli and Saraxa down into the heart of the moon. Metal walls slid past them, glowing with red veins that pulsed like living arteries. Each pulse matched Eli's heartbeat, then matched Saraxa's, then beat in a rhythm that belonged to neither of them. The air grew warmer, heavy with the scent of old iron and forgotten dust. Eli's suit sensors flashed warnings, but he ignored them. He gripped the rail, eyes wide, mind racing. Saraxa stood beside him, silent, her armor dim yet alive. She felt the same pull, the same ancient welcome. Down, down. The lift moved, deeper than any human drill had dared to dig. At last, the walls opened into a vast cavern. Lights flared, revealing pillars as tall as city towers. Between them stood colossal machines shaped like warriors. Frozen in time, their eyes were dark gems, waiting for a command that never came. The floor was a mirror of black glass, reflecting crimson veins beneath its surface, in the center of everything. On an altar of coiled metal and bone rested a small object, a crown, no larger than a man's 2 hands. Forged from black crystal and silver thorns, it pulsed gently, each pulse echoing in Eli's chest like a drumbeat. The lift locked into place with a hiss. Eli and Saraxa stepped out, their footsteps echoing across the glass. The machines remained motionless, yet Eli felt eyes on him. Invisible watchers behind every pillar, every shadow. He whispered, "This feels like walking into a dream," Saraxa replied. "Or a tomb." When they reached the altar, the crown brightened. Symbols rose from its surface, teeny, glowing lines of code that moved like living script. Eli stared, mesmerized. Saraxa lowered her head, eyes shining with equal parts wonder and dread. "This is the heart crown," she said softly. "The last command of my bloodline." Eli asked, "What does it do?" "It wakes the army," she answered. "It bends star metal and stone, turns sleeping worlds into fortresses." She lifted her hand, but stopped an inch from the crown. "I swore never to claim it," she whispered. "Not unless the Empire called for war again." A tremor shook the cavern, dust raining from above. The AI's voice echoed faintly through hidden speakers. "Chamber integrity declining, external strike detected." Eli's eyes widened. More hunters. Saraxa closed her fingers slowly. No, something worse, high above. On the moon's surface, alarm klaxons wailed. A new ship had arrived larger than the 3 before. Its belly opened, dropping a shining sphere toward the base. The sphere carried its own light, bright as a tiny sun. Inside, a fusion core spun, ready to burn everything vampire. The Ash Order's sun bomb had come. Deep below, the tremor grew stronger, cracks spreading across the black glass floor. Machines groaned as if waking from a long nightmare. Saraxa looked at Eli, her voice urgent yet calm. "The bomb will reach us in minutes," she said. "Its light will scorch every dark code, including me." Eli's heart pounded. Then, "We have to stop it." He reached for the crown without thinking. The air snapped, energy flaring around his hand. Saraxa grabbed his wrist. "No human has worn the heart crown," she warned. "It may consume you." Eli met her eyes, feeling the bond burn bright between them. "If it saves you, it's worth the risk," he said. Her grip trembled. "You could die, but you already gave your life to protect me." He replied, "Let me return the favor." He pulled free and lifted the crown. Cold fire raced through his veins. Images flooded his mind, cities of alabaster under red moons, armies kneeling to a throne of shadows, Saraxa standing alone while centuries passed. He felt her loneliness, her duty, her hidden hope that someone might stand beside her. The crown shrank, reshaping to fit his head when it settled. Its thorns bent outward like protective wings. Symbols flashed on Eli's skin, matching those on Saraxa's armor. The cavern shuddered as the giant machines awakened, eyes blazing red. One by one, they knelt, titans bowing to a human former nobody. Eli swayed but stayed upright. He felt power, yes, but also purpose. He heard the machine chorus say in a million voices, "Command accepted, King of the Pact." Beside him, Saraxa knelt, head bowed. "I serve," she whispered, voice shaking with emotion. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. Lifting her gently, "We serve together," he said. "Stand with me, above." The sun bomb pierced the upper hangar. Warning lights roared red, steel melting under its heat. Eli closed his eyes, reaching through the crown into the stone bones of the moon. He felt tunnels, circuits, reactors dormant since the Empire fell. "Shield," he commanded, barely knowing the language, yet speaking it true. Liquid metal flowed up from the cavern floor, racing through corridors. Sealing bulkheads, on the surface, silver walls erupted around the bomb like petals. Trapping the false sun inside a coffin of reflective alloy, it burned bright, but its own light bounced back, eating itself. In seconds, the bomb imploded, leaving only darkness and cooling metal. Back in the cavern, seismic ripples faded. The machines fell silent again. Eli opened his eyes, staggered. Siraxa caught him, steadying him with surprising gentleness. "You held the crown and lived," she said in awe. "I held it because I believed in you," he answered, voice weak but certain. The crown dimmed. Its purpose complete for now, but its link to Eli and Siraxa remained. A living bridge between their hearts and the sleeping army. Far above, the Hunter's flagship withdrew, fearing the power they witnessed. The war was not over. But the first battle had been won by a joke turned into destiny. In the quiet that followed, Eli looked at Siraxa. "Are you still my Warbride?" he asked with a tired smile. She touched the crown, her eyes soft. "I am your partner," she said, "by blood, by code, by choice." Eli felt warmth in his chest, a calm deeper than fear. He knew darkness still waited beyond the stars, but he also knew they would face it together. High above, the twin moons glowed silver. Deep below, the heart crown rested on a human brow. And in between, a newly forged king and his warbride stood hand in hand, ready for whatever came next. Morning light crept across the cracked moon surface, casting long silver shadows over the sealed sun-bomb coffin. Eli stood on the command balcony, the heart crown faint against his brow, the air still humming with last night's power. Beneath his boots, the ancient floor felt warm, alive, as if the machine itself breathed with him. Siraxa stepped beside him, armored, dark eyes bright, her cloak lifting in a gentle, artificial breeze, the base now generated. In the far sky, 3 hunter frigates lurked at high orbit, their black holes flashing like shards of night against the dawn. LUMAS' calm voice whispered through wall speakers, reporting energy spikes as the enemy gathered for a second attack. Eli's pulse matched the crown's red rhythm, each beat reminding him that the fight was not yet finished. Siraxa watched the ships and spoke softly. "They will come again, this time with all their strength." He nodded, gripping the railing. "Then we need a plan that saves us without turning this moon into a graveyard." She glanced at him with something like pride. "You think of mercy, even after all they have tried. That is why the Pact chose you." A sudden holoflare bloomed in the cavern below, showing a countdown. The chamber core warming to awaken every Titan warrior. Eli felt the urge to say one word that would unleash them. But Siraxa touched his hand and guided it away. "My vow is to protect you, not to drown you in endless war," she said, voice gentle yet firm. She revealed a slim crystal blade, cut her palm, and let black-red blood drip onto the crown's thorns. Eli mirrored her act, his own blood sparkling gold in artificial light, drops mingling with hers on the ancient metal when the two colors touched. The crown blazed bright, a new symbol spiraling across its surface, half thorn, half shining wing. Pain flashed through both of them, sharp, bright, but strangely clean. And Eli realized their bond had deepened again. Machines across the moon paused as if listening to a new heartbeat resonating through circuits and stone. High above, the largest hunter frigate opened a channel. Commander Vale's voice filled with cold fury. "Surrender the crown or watch this moon melt. Your lives are dust to us," he declared. Every word dripping threat. Eli straightened, crown glowing, voice broadcast through every frequency. "No more threats, no more graves. Leave now or be disarmed. Laughter crackled back. Then missile bays opened like steel fangs. Bright spears of plasma streaked toward the surface. Eli closed his eyes, whispered to the crown, and kilometers of silver armor burst from the moon's crust, forming a radiant shield. Plasma struck the barrier and scattered into harmless sparks, lighting the dusty horizon with silent fireworks. Inside the shield, Siraxa vanished into shadow, reappearing on the outer ramparts where hunters' boarding pods hammered the hull. She met the first wave alone, blades singing, every motion swift and sure. Every strike fueled by the bond's shared strength. Eli felt each slash like a heartbeat. Sensed her determination and pain when a hunter's dart pierced her side. He gasped, hand over his ribs, then ran through echoing halls toward her location. The crown dimming to guide him, dust swirled as sealed doors parted for their king. Red veins in the walls glowing brighter with each hurried step. He found Siraxa on one knee, armor sliced, dark blood staining the floor, eyes fierce but growing dim. Hunters lay scattered, defeated, yet their leader still advanced, blade poised to finish her. Eli raised a hand, spoke one word of command, and the floor itself swallowed the attacker. Sealing shut with a metallic sigh, he knelt beside Siraxa. Lifting her gently, feeling their hearts beat uneven rhythms, she smiled weakly. My vow was to keep you safe, even if the stars must drink my last drop. No, Eli whispered. We do this together, or not at all. Her fingers brushed the crown. Then let my blood guard you forever. She said, tears glimmering like rubies. Crimson light burst around them, swirling into a cocoon of burning script, her body dissolving into pure code and memory. The crown split in two, halves one pressing into Eli's chest, fusing above his heart, the other rising to hover over the base like a dark sun. From that floating half, a wave of gentle shadow swept across the battlefield, touching every hunter's ship. Every weapon, engines fell silent. Targeting arrays went blind. The frigates became hollow husks, drifting without command. Above the quiet Moonvale's flagships shuddered. Systems failing under invisible code that sang Siraxa's final note. Seeing power lost, the remaining hunters fled, towing silent ships like broken shields behind them. LUMA's voice echoed softly. External threat retreating. Core integrity. Stable. Partner signature detected within primary user. Eli stood alone on the rampart. Armor cracked. Crown half gone. But her presence pulsed warm inside his chest. He closed his eyes, and her voice whispered through his thoughts, gentle as midnight wind. I am here. Always. Tears slipped down his cheeks, each one shining in red dawn, yet he smiled through them. Feeling her spirit weave with his, he returned to the command balcony. Raised a new transmitter forged from moon metal and thorn. Across open channels he spoke, his words strong yet kind. Let this be the end of hidden wars. The blood of one and the voice of another have shown a different path to every wandering heart, and every silent star know that the Warbride still lives in bond. In hope, in every choice to stand together, somewhere far across space, signals bounced. Worlds listened. Legends began to stir like morning embers. Eli looked to the twin moons, felt twin heartbeats, one his own. One Siraxa's echo rising, steady, calm, eternal. Beyond the shield, Titans knelt in restful silence, ready yet unwilling to march unless love itself called them, and so a joke. Made in loneliness had forged a crown, ended a crusade, and carved a vow into the heart of a forgotten moon. A vow that would guide every step Eli took from that dawn onward. Partner and Warbride, bound beyond blood, beyond code, beyond death. Forever.